attitudes above reproach and in accordance with your purpose and will. And finally, we call on your heavenly angels to stand watch over the four corners of our district. Surround us with the shield of your favor and guide us through our days and through this year. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Good evening. It is 6:01 p.m. on January 22nd, 2025, and I call this meeting to order. Let the record show a quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called and posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.001. We will start off our meeting tonight with item number 3 on the agenda, our recognitions.
All right, thank you, President Parsons. We have an outstanding lineup of champion students and staff members. For parents, just like you see Principal Hudgens right here, we have all the principals speak right here, the screen behind it. I encourage you all to get up and get a great view for all your camera shots or videos. It looks much better if you're where our friend Chris is versus from the back row. So that being said, we'll start off with Principal Hudgens and Bar W Elementary.
Thank you so much. We are so excited to be able to announce and celebrate our Champion of the Month, Carter Fott. Carter is a 5th grader at Bar W, and he was chosen because he is an amazing leader at our school. He is kind and he is creative. He's an adaptable thinker and for sure a problem solver. What I love most about Carter is he is the type of person that brings people together. So he has the emotional intelligence to listen to other people's ideas, to find common ground, to find compromises, and to come up with an even better plan than what was suggested by just one person. He serves as a leader on our student coalition for 5th grade, and he does an awesome job at helping us come up with some great plans for our school. One of the things that Carter wants to do when he grows up is he wants to be a professional football player, and he wants to play for the Baltimore Ravens. So we were talking about the game this weekend, which was a little disappointing, but he is a great kid. He has an excellent throwing arm and could make a great quarterback. But what I really want to tell you about Carter is that he has such a sense of humor, and again, he has the ability to know when it's okay to make a joke and when it's time to be serious. And I think that sense of humor creates such a positive learning environment for his classmates and helps everybody want to work together for success. So Carter, we're so proud of you and we celebrate you tonight. Good job.
All right, thank you. And now Principal Gomez, Bill Burton.
All right, this is Reese Urbanzik, and she is a 3rd grader at Burden. And so many of the things you said about Carter is this girl right here that I had on my notes here. She is a natural-born leader. One of the things that Miss Hudgens said is exactly what her teacher said, that she has a maturity and emotional intelligence beyond her years. One of the things that is so amazing about Reese is she's the kind of she's the kind of student that when the teacher is gone, the class is exactly the same. Like, she can run that class, which is good because she actually wants to be a teacher when she grows up. So she's going to work at Burden one day for sure. And she has the ability to recognize and respond to others' needs, which for a 3rd grader, I mean, that is amazing. She sees things going on in her classroom, and she goes and reaches out to those students to make sure that they have everything that they need. Her teacher said that she is dedicated and hardworking in everything that she does. So whether that's in PE, art, in the classroom, she gives her everything, and she is going to be an amazing teacher one day at Bill Burden Elementary, and she is such a blessing to us, and we are so proud of you, Reese.
Awesome. We need to get her a contract like they do with athletes. All right, Liberty Hill Elementary, Principal Collison.
Good evening, everybody. This is Cooper Vogelman. He is a 3rd grader at Liberty Hill Elementary, and he is here tonight because of his kindness. He is a friend to everyone, which makes tonight's nomination really special because it was actually inspired by a classmate that avoids writing at all cost. But when given the choice to write about a friend, he wrote about Cooper with ease. And I'm going to use his words because they're much better than mine. Cooper is funny when he does crazy stuff. Cooper never cheats and always plays by the rules. He is nice and always asks others to play with us. Cooper loves his family and has a bunch of play dates. Cooper is my best friend. These words reflect his impact at our school. And we always say at Liberty Hill Elementary that we strive to make our school a great place for all kids, and Cooper is part of that. Thank you so much for making Liberty Hill a brighter, better place for everyone. Cooper Vogelman, everybody.
All right, thank you. And now Louine Noble.
Good evening. I am so proud to introduce y'all to John Michael Beitler. He is a second grader at Noble, and there's a theme going on tonight. He is quite the leader himself. He was selected by his gifted and talented teacher, and this is his first year in our GT program. And Miss Ellsworth assures me, without a doubt, that even though it's his first year, he is way outperforming and excelling compared to his classmates. He gives 110%. I've seen this in class myself. And he is a natural-born leader because he gives so much to his friends, to his classwork, everything that other students want to be like John Michael and want to follow him. We were talking today. He does want to be a baseball player. He's quite the player right now. He's decided, narrowed it down between A&M and Notre Dame. You really can't go wrong either way, right? He has big ambition. Big ambition, and I have no doubt that he's going to accomplish all that he sets his mind out to. He is very creative in GT. They did a project over creating a house for the fourth pig, if there were one. He told me he set very creative traps for the wolf, and he's going to get him. So we're just really proud. He exemplifies everything we aspire to be at Noble, and he is very much a leader in character and academics. Please help me congratulate John Michael Beitler.
All right, thank you. And now Rancho Siena Elementary, Principal Gillis.
All right, thank you. It is my privilege tonight to get to recognize Colin as our Rancho Siena Champion of the Month for January. Colin is such an amazing student, and so he's a first grader at Rancho, and what he exemplifies is what we want all of our students to exemplify. The best thing about Colin is, and this is everybody that I talk to, is that he exhibits kindness wherever he goes. He has some friends who need a little extra support, especially being 6, 7 years old in his classroom. And he is the first one. And when I talk to his teachers, they say that he is the first one to help everyone and capitalize everyone, right? He wants to be in the Army when he grows up one day. I did try to get him to be a teacher in line just a minute ago, and he was like, no, I don't want any part of that. But he does want to be in the Army. He loves playing soccer and playing games with his family. And so we just want to congratulate and thank Colin for everything that he does. And we're excited for the next 4 years with him as well. Thank you, Colin, for being a great champion of Rancho.
All right, thank
He
you.
was
And now
ready to
Santa
take
Rita Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. This is Owen Muchler, and as you can tell, he is ready to be celebrated. He was nominated for Leading with Compassion. He is such a spirited, kind, and caring young boy, and his energy is absolutely infectious. Every day you can find Owen giving the biggest smiles, high fives, good mornings. He even breaks out and dance every day with our registrar, Miss Delisa, and he is just truly infectious to all of those around him. His big heart is matched by his sharp mind as he shows grit and determination in his academics as well. He is just such a positive light on our campus and just radiates wherever he goes. So help me in celebrating Owen, our champion of the month.
All right, thank you. And now Tierra Rosa Elementary School.
Good evening. I am here to celebrate Eli. Eli is a kindergarten student at Tierra Rosa, and when I reached out to staff and just wanted to hear all about their students, Miss Varela could not say enough nice things. It just went on and on and on. And so it kind of started with him as being a leader. He's very dedicated in his schoolwork, but he also wants to make sure that others are successful as well. And so he does help in the classroom as much as possible. Another asset is that he's very, very positive. And so he tries to turn every situation into a positive one. He also tries to problem solve with the teachers and other students. So he is a great problem solver. We all shout out for Eli.
All right, awesome. And now Liberty Hill Middle School, Principal Miller.
Howdy, y'all. This is Archer Jackson. He is an 8th grader at Liberty Hill Middle School, and Archer has grown in the time that I've known him. He is a champion because of his dedication and innovation towards academics. You see, Archer is one that sometimes I will see, and I think my campus is a college campus. I see him down in the foyer during lunch. He's working independently on his to-do list, and just to be able to sit down and talk to him, he is a joy. Being able to work through his to-do list with him and help him prioritize his to-do list is just, it's my honor. His teachers said that Archer's one of the hardest working students on campus. He's a dedicated student who cares deeply about his work. He's creative in his solutions and willing to challenge himself. When I asked him what his favorite class was, he said, well, that's hard. I just like to learn. So what teacher doesn't like a kid like Archer in your class? He also is a pretty good artist. He loves art. He wants to pursue that as a career one day in the field of anime. When I asked him who his favorite artist was, he said, well, Picasso. Oh, animation. So sorry. He wants to pursue animation. Thank you. When I asked him who his favorite artist was, he said, well, Picasso, of course, because he came up with his own style. And that is exactly what Archer does at Liberty Hill Middle School. He has a style of his own. He's our January champion of the month, and I know he's going to be a champion in life.
Thank you. All right, Santa Rita Middle School, Principal Haggerty.
Good evening. It is my privilege to introduce you to Tyler McCrary, our Santa Rita Middle School January Champion of the Month. Tyler is a champion, and he is a very well-rounded champion at that. You will find him on the football field, and then you'll turn around and see him on the stage playing Golly the Goose in the Charlotte's Web production, and then every day you'll see him in the cafeteria and doing this in all of those areas, and that is exhibiting a great amount of kindness, empathy, care, and concern for his peers. It is very important to him that everyone feels welcome at Santa Rita Middle School. He has got the best, most positive attitude. He is a leader among his peers and on our campus. He's incredibly helpful to all of the adults and students alike, and we just could not be more pleased to recognize Tyler. Tyler is, as I mentioned, he is very well-rounded. He's a musician. He built his own electric guitar, plays acoustic guitar. In the future, he would like to be a lawyer while continuing to pursue fine arts of music and acting as well. So Tyler is just an amazing young man, very polite, respectful, and above all, kind. Thank you, Tyler.
All right, thank you. Legacy Ranch High School.
All right, thank you guys for having us. I want to introduce you to Autumn Etzkorn. Autumn is a freshman at Legacy Ranch. She was a member of our volleyball team. She is currently also on our soccer team. She is described by all of her coaches and teachers as a leader. They say she's not going to be in the back, but she's also not going to be in the front. She is just perfect. She's selfless. She's motivating. She helps out anybody she can. She comes from amazing parents who are a lawyer and in law enforcement, but she's like, I'm not about that life, right? She said, I don't care where I go to college. This is the best part. She wants to be a teacher. And so in the next 7.5 years, all of us are going to be fighting for Autumn because she is where it's at. We are blessed to have Autumn at Legacy Ranch High School.
All right, now for our Teacher Champion of the Month, we'll welcome back Santa Rita Middle School Principal Haggerty.
Good evening. I am very excited to introduce you to and very appreciative that she has been selected as the January Champion Teacher of the Month. That is Miss Norell. Miss Norell is a 6th grade science teacher, 6th grade team lead, and cheerleader coach. She wears many hats on our campus and does it all so very well. I want to talk to you a little bit about her classroom teaching. Her students are engaged, they are up and moving, they are analyzing, they're sorting things, they are experimenting, they're doing everything that you would want to see in a science classroom, and they're all having fun while doing it. She is a leader among her peers. I mentioned she's a 6th grade team leader. There are so many staff members that look to her for advice in different situations, whether it's an academic situation, behavioral, or just school life in general, or sometimes just life in general. She is definitely a leader among her peers. She's incredibly organized with the team. She keeps everyone focused, positive, and solutions oriented. And as a cheer coach, she's very involved in cheer among all of LHISD cheer programs. Our cheerleaders are amazing. She leads them to great heights, and it's also very important she instills in them that they are student leaders, which we are also appreciative of. Miss Norell is just an amazing teacher, and I want to give you a few words that her students describe her as. Nice, warm-hearted, kind, funny, fun, does really well at teaching science, and then my favorite is she's very pretty. So Miss Norell is our January Teacher Champion of the Month and LHISD Teacher Champion of the Month as well. So congratulations, Miss Norell.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, back to Legacy Ranch High School and Principal Kohler.
Last name ever, first name greatest. Sergeant Jonathan Gardner is our champion of the month. Sergeant Gardner is a blessing to Legacy Ranch High School, but a blessing to Liberty Hill ISD. He is a selfless individual. He is a student magnet. There's not a kid who doesn't want to come talk to him. There's not a kid he wouldn't go talk to. He creates an environment where we want to be, where we feel safe. He is just the greatest. He is an Army reservist, and he will go and he'll spend five days on Army Reserve and come back and work a basketball game or come with me to Bastrop, or he'll go all over the place. My bad, Mrs. Sergeant Gardner. I'm so sorry. But he's everywhere. So I cannot think of a better human. And I'm going to tell you a secret. In my heart of hearts, I wanted to be the coolest person at Legacy Ranch High School. And I am not. Sergeant Gardner is the coolest person at Legacy Ranch High School. And so we are blessed to have you every single day, Sergeant Jonathan Gardner.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'd like to get a picture with all of our champions with the board. So if y'all meet us right up here in front, and we'll get a picture. And parents, feel free to take as many pictures as you'd like.
Jory's like,
sorry for you.
yeah, Jory's like, what in the world?
Important recognition on January. As you guys know, January is School Board Appreciation Month, and Liberty Hill ISD is blessed with one of the most service-oriented, student-focused board in the state of Texas. You guys are absolutely amazing. We have a couple missing tonight, but you can see all the work that the campuses put in, the appreciation we have for you and your service and the many hours you guys spend late nights up here on our regular board meetings, but all the hours you put in volunteering for our campuses and serving the needs of the teachers and the students. Very much appreciated. So if y'all could join me in a round of applause for our school board. Look at that.
Well, thank you all. Appreciate it. All right, and we're moving on to item number 4, and we do not have any speakers tonight. So then moving on to item number 5. Starting with 5A is our Liberty Hill Education Foundation Year in Review presentation by Mr. Bowles.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here tonight. First of all, I want to echo what Mr. Snell said, and on behalf of the Education Foundation, thank all the members of the school board for their service and their dedication to the district. We couldn't do it without y'all. Just to keep the good times going from everything earlier this evening, this is our annual update. We started doing this last year to present to the school board and the district to give a brief readout on all the good things that the Education Foundation was able to do for the district last year. Just to ground us a little bit, in case you're not familiar, we're a nonprofit organization. We started in 2019. We do have a memorandum of understanding with the school district. We currently have 20 board members. We have 16 voting members. We have 3 non-voting members, which are Mr. Snell, Ms. Major, and I'm pleased to announce that Ms. Hargrove is now our second school board representative on the foundation, so we're very glad to have you. We also have 1 paid contractor, our development coordinator, Carrie Betson. She's a rock star. Y'all have probably seen her. We hold our meetings once a month. We have a board and an executive board, and our annual meetings held each June where we map out the upcoming school year. When we had our strategic planning meeting a couple years ago, we wanted to make sure we had a clear mission and vision and that we aligned with the district. I won't drain the slide, but you can see that, you know, our primary mission is to support the student, staff, and teachers of Liberty Hill ISD, and I think we do a pretty good job at doing that each and every day. So our core initiatives, what we do, we give back to the district. So the two biggest things that we do are we provide student scholarships to our graduating seniors, and we have 3 different categories. We have our general, our Walker Tough, and we started last year, our teacher nominated 2 years ago, our teacher nominated scholarship. This past year, we had 92 applications from our graduating class. We awarded 16 scholarships, $2,500 each, and we're able to give back a total of $40,000 to the senior class. The other big thing is, and by far the biggest thing, is our teacher grants. This is the most fun, the most rewarding thing that we do. This year, we had 63 applications. We were able to award a record amount of 56 grants. We had at least 1 from every campus. And I'll even say the ones that didn't get awarded, thanks to Ms. Klein and Mr. Motal, we had the district review each of those applications each year to make sure they align. There was actually some other funds that were able to fund some of those other ones. So we were able to get just about all of those funded in one way or the other this year. So I'm really proud of that. And then right before Christmas, we had our grant patrol. And just to kind of set the stage, if you weren't part of that, this was by far the most fun this year. We had a team of folks, and by a team, We would go school to school. The teachers didn't know we were coming. The principals had the route all mapped out. They knew which classroom we were going to go to. And we would literally sneak up to a classroom. The door would fly open, and here would come 2 or 3 members of the school board, followed by 3 or 4 members of the Education Foundation. But wait, that's not all. Here comes 3 or 4 members of the district administration. Here comes the principal. Oh, but wait, here comes the superintendent. And in about 5 seconds, there's 20 people standing in this teacher's room with cowbells, balloons, and a big check. And the kids are screaming. They have no idea why, but they're having the best time. So that was just great. And I want to thank all the folks on the school board and the district staff. Mr. Snell went to every one of these with us, and couldn't have done it without y'all. Real quick, and one teacher, a couple teachers actually made this comment to me, and I wanted to share tonight. And we go in there and we give them the big check and we do the photo op. And a couple of teachers said, you know, that the money is great, but the fact that so many of y'all took the time to come and do this today means even more. And that was really good. So thank everybody that was able to participate in that. Next up, we do other things as well. Also in November, that's our busy month, we did our Giving with Gratitude. This was our, I believe, 3rd year to do that. The district's a team. Every team, every player is valuable. We couldn't have the best district in the state, which we do, without every person. So we make a point to go to every campus, every facility, and we personally give each employee a $25 gift card from HEB right before Thanksgiving to show them our appreciation. We also are able to support Panther Academy with a grant. I think that donation last year, I believe, helped 51 kids, provided scholarships into that program. We funded the Grow Your Own, where we help our paraprofessionals get certified. That donation last year, I think we ended up with either 4 or 5 of those teachers that got awarded that, ended up in the classroom teaching in August. So that was huge. We're also able to award our elementary and secondary Teacher of the Year winners with the Christy Kirchhoff Excellence in Teaching Award. So each of those winners gets a check for $1,000. And then we've also been able to support with some of the giveaways and things for convocation, end of year staff appreciation, and things like that. All in total, this was our best year. We were able to give back to the district $187,985. So we do all this by donors. We couldn't do it without the community. This year we actually partnered with the Chamber of Commerce to bring back the Jingle Bell 5K. That was a huge success thanks to the Chamber. Just this past Friday they gave the Education Foundation a check for $11,000 and was also able to donate about $3,000 back to all of the PTOs in the district. So a big thank you to the community for that. And our 2 fundraising events this year, the Make the Difference Gala coming up in March and our Derby in the Hill in September. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Very good. Thank you so much for all y'all do.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 5B is our 25-26 academic calendar update by Mr. Motal.
Yes, thank you, President Parsons, members of the board. Superintendent Snell, thank you for giving me an opportunity to update you on our calendar progress for the 25-26 school year. As a reminder, we did send out 2 proposed calendars to our staff and community around November, early December. We had calendar A, which has a total of 168 student days, and then we had calendar B, which is a total of 165. Calendar B, a little bit more of an innovative format where we condense the staff development days more in the middle of each semester. Reminder too that both calendars had fairly similar strong support. There was a little bit more of a strongly disagree on the calendar B option because there are more days where we are asking our families to support their kids at home in order to give additional time back for our staff. I left you with some follow-up action items that we wanted to work on, and I want to give you updates on all of those and where we're at currently. First one is that we did want to clarify that our calendar B is more innovative. It is only 3 student days difference from calendar A, and so we've been trying to clarify that with staff. The other part that we talked about was the Fridays versus Mondays. Calendar B's option had a number of the staff development days all on Mondays throughout the year. So we began a discussion about Fridays versus Mondays, which really took us back to the purpose of an innovative calendar. And really the purpose really falls back into trying to give our teachers and our campus staff more time. A number of mandates and initiatives that have happened over the years is putting more on the back of our teachers. And then with some of the impending decisions that we have with the budget and potential reductions, we are going to be asking our teachers and our campus staff to carry more. And so that was really the whole purpose that we set out with an innovative calendar, was how do we give our teachers and our campus staff more time to still get the same high expectations and results that we all want. And so that's really where we started. And then Fridays, really feedback from our staff was it really is our highest sub day. And so is there a potential that, we have the staff development day on a Friday, which reduces some of our potential sub costs. Parents were expressing that if the staff development day was on a Friday, it is a little bit more convenient for them to possibly take off, work from home. That's typically kind of what some jobs will allow. And when we looked at other districts around the state, Fridays are typically their day. When we actually, I think, only found one that was on Mondays. Almost all the other ones were across the district were on Fridays. Mondays, there's an option. Well, when you have Mondays, the kind of mentality with staff would be more of it's a preparation for the week rather than a wind down for the week. So having those days on Monday is a pro for that. Parents did express some concern that it's typically a little bit harder to work from home or be off on Mondays versus Fridays. Childcare option was something that we got a number of feedback on that we need to look into. And so we're looking at it from really two lenses. One is how do we provide childcare for our staff on those days. Our commitment right now is we'd still continue to offer free childcare for our staff like we do currently. We've done that for a number of years. We are talking with Ms. Park about trying to have locations on both kind of the east and west side of the districts. Right now we're trying to centralize, and so working on what that would look like, because obviously if I'm working at Santa Rita Elementary, it's very difficult for me to drive all the way to Bill Burden or the Hill and then get back, and so we wanted to try to make that a little bit more convenient. We are still looking at could we potentially provide some child care for parents on those days. It's starting to be a little bit difficult to do that, and still trying to figure out how all of those people that would support that child care, we also need them off on those times in order to work with their departments and their teams that they have. So my example would be, if we have X paraprofessional and, X special ed program, sure, on that day, whether it's Monday or Friday, they could go help watch some kids, and we could do that, no problem. The dilemma is they're not getting the training and the collaboration with their teachers that they're directly working with, right? And so how do we offset that? So really what we've gone down is looking at third parties. There's a number of daycares here that provide child care here in town, along with, example, YMCA. There's another third party that reached out to us to provide some options. And so really trying to see what potential that could bring and what that would look like for parents. So we're still working on that. We did want to continue to review the total instructional minutes that we have, make sure we're meeting state requirements. We have to have a minimum of 75,600 instructional minutes in our calendar in order to get funding from the state. Calendar's A option that we presented to y'all requires no additional minutes, and it has 3 banked days. Calendar B doesn't provide any full makeup days, so we would have to add 5 minutes in order to try to build in some makeup days. If you remember our Calendar B, we did designate one of the staff development days as a bad weather makeup day. So for example, yesterday when we missed, had we not had any bank days in our calendar this year, we'd have to make up that instructional time somehow between now and May. So if we don't bank time, we definitely need to designate and let parents know that if we do have bad weather days, we may have to have school on those days. So it's kind of that cost benefit of how much time is too much to add versus do you, just go ahead and designate some bad weather days. Is always kind of working through that. Really want to outline what type of professional development is happening on those days. A number of staff reached out to us saying that, we're really unsure if we support calendar A or B because we're not quite sure what's happening on all those days. So we're working with our principals and our teaching and learning department right now to start to outline that. Once the board were to approve a calendar, what we would do is we'd sit down with our teaching and learning department along with our principals, and we'd outline the year saying these would be work in the classroom days, these would be district-based, these would be campus-based. Maybe it's a split between, campus in the morning, district in the afternoon, or vice versa, and we would work through that and communicate that in advance so everyone would know. And then no matter what type of calendar we have, we do need to make sure that we include staff holidays. While it is beneficial for them to have time to work to get the job done. If we were to take up, for example, every Friday with the staff development day, people still have to take off from time to time because you have dentist appointments and doctor's appointments and different things happening in life. And so if we don't put those days in the calendar somehow, what you end up having is you will have a designated, potentially district professional development day. We're expecting everybody to be there, but then 30% of your staff is out because they need to provide, go attend some other appointment. And so that kind of defeats the purpose of having the additional time if you have staff gone. So making sure that we're strategic in our calendar, balancing, we're giving them enough time to get the job done, but we're also not overtaxing so that way they can still do the things they need to do outside of the job. We want to continue to communicate why we have the innovative calendar and how it relates to any potential budget savings. When we're currently exploring right now with the numbers that we're looking at and talks with everybody else that has an innovative calendar, the cost savings is really minimal because even if no one is here, for example, no one was here yesterday, the heaters were still on. Like, you can't just turn everything off completely to where you would save so much electricity that would be a great benefit. You'll save a little bit. The main cost would be if you don't have school, you saving costs in transportation for the buses not having to move. That would be the fuel and the maintenance. You're still having to potentially pay those drivers over a certain period of time that they're expecting, but you wouldn't have the buses going. So what everybody's been telling us is any cost savings that you see in an innovative calendar, actually you end up expending that little bit of savings somewhere else. So for example, if you have more days where you're providing staff development, that's more childcare that you might have to offer. So potentially whatever savings you would have is now being expended in another way. We are still working with our DEIC. We met with them in January. We got a lot of great feedback from them, which is a lot of the comments that you see from me today. They did approve both either calendar A or B would be okay with them. They also said that they were open to a more innovative option if we were able to find a way to add more staff development days in a way that doesn't make the day too long. So we committed to them that we would share an update with y'all, get feedback from y'all now, and then if we needed to bring them back together, or we could do electronic format, kind of let them know where we're at. And where we're at in our timeline right now is giving you an update, getting some feedback in February, and still bringing a calendar to you for approval in February. In talking with some other districts around the state that are similar to us that have innovative calendars, some of them are calling it like a true 4-day, some are calling them a hybrid, some call innovative, so we just kind of lumped it all together saying innovative, and you can see a list of districts there that are similar size to us. And here are their common themes and feedback for us to consider. They said once they went to this innovative calendar, this was number one for all of them. That's why it's a top bullet. It was a significant high-quality teacher recruiting tool. All the districts are telling us, I'd post, for example, Ms. Miller has an 8th grade science position open, and they said I used to get, 2 or 3 applicants, and one was actually only even certified or qualified. So as soon as this calendar went out, the next day we had like 25 people apply, and like 20 of them were highly certified. So they said every one of them were, number one, significant teacher recruiting tool to get the best teachers possible. Need to make sure that we offset teachers and staff need additional time with the demands of the profession, so that was a big driver for them. So similar to us in trying to explore an innovative option, they said we really went down that path because, again, we're adding so much onto the backs of the teachers in the classrooms that we need to try to give more time for that. All of them are saying that they have an increase in student attendance and engagement, especially at the secondary level. They were saying that the kids are much more focused in, if I've only got school 4 days that week, they're getting down to business. The other piece of that came with that is within the curriculum of their lessons. For example, now you might go through lesson over 5 days, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going through a lesson, and maybe 5 is kind of a catch-up review, and maybe if there was a movie or something that applied to it, I can use that. But they were saying they had to take all of that fluff really went out of the curriculum, because they said really with the condensed schedule, you really had to stay on track and go. And they said that not only helped their teachers stay more focused on the lessons, it's increased student engagement significantly because the lessons are always moving, they're always on point, they're always going forward. Parents did say that this type of calendar did cause some concern with them in the beginning, but everybody that has implemented was after year 1. They have not had any parent concerns. 3 of the districts I personally spoke to, they were saying the parents are, because they were actually talking about going back to a more traditional calendar, and they have quite a bit of outspoken parents going, no, don't go back, because we've not only have we adjusted, but now we do have more time with our family. Our kids are more engaged in school. They're more attentive to what's going on. I feel more engaged as a parent, so their parents are actually saying don't go back. They did have some scheduling concerns. For example, you might have in your ARD minutes, it says a certain amount of time or instruction has to be provided, but now that you've condensed that schedule so that it go back and adjust that. Secondaries, we're talking about, they used to have X amount of time in order to go talk to all the students about upcoming schedules, and so now you have to do that on a condensed basis, and so that was a concern. Struggle with less days before the first day of school, however you make that time up when school's starting. And then almost all of them host some type of credit recovery for the high school students on Fridays or Mondays to allow kids to continue to make up. And they said that's great for their staff because their staff was able to do that, but then also have their weekends instead of right now we have like a Saturday school, for example, so it cuts into people's weekends. So. As part of the feedback that we gathered from y'all and from DEIC was we created a calendar B plus option. It's really the calendar B that y'all saw earlier, except it moves all the Mondays to Fridays. It also, if you remember in calendar B in the past, we started the professional development in September. So this basically has us going August and September with the true student 5-day week all the way through, and then it picks up in October and it goes to a student 4 days so teachers can have planning time. And then that kind of continues all the way through December and January are back to normal 5 days, and then you have February all the way to the end of the year, kind of goes back to the student 4 days and the staff 5 days. Obviously with B and with this one, the feedback that we got with all of them is great. Thanks for the time, but man, it really does get kind of confusing on what's happening on what week and how am I going to keep track of that. And so that would be something that we would want to continue to explore. We went ahead and created a calendar C option, which is more of what people have kind of, I think, originally thought the calendar would look like, which is more of a true student 4-day week from the beginning of the school year all the way to the end. And I'm going to just kind of talk through that a little bit because there's a few things that I definitely want to point out on this. So it's a total of 160 days. For perspective, right now we have a total of 168 student days, so there's 8 less student days overall. Still 187 staff days from when they start at the beginning or at the end of July all the way through May. It does meet the 75,600 requirements if we add 5 minutes to the day. Right now we're at 455 minutes, so we would need to add 5 minutes. At 455 minutes, we do not have enough time. So we would need to add 5 minutes to the day, but you can see it banks 0 days. So I did designate in this calendar April 17th and 24th as potential bad weather makeup days. Just for perspective, if we added 5 minutes, it does add between 1.2 and 1.5 days. So if you went up to 465, for example, you would bank a little bit over a day. If you went up to 470, you'd bank 3 days. Right? I just wanted to give you all perspective on that as you start thinking about how much time is too much. Because when we were talking about it with the DEIC, they were saying, 5, 10 minutes, 15, okay, 35, 40 minutes, man, that just makes the day seem way too long, right? So it's like, all right, if you don't want to go longer in your day, then you got to start earlier or end later, right? You can't start late, end early, and have less time during the day, right? They all have to kind of work together. And I put some potential start and end times down there. All I did was add 5 minutes to the end of the school day from what we currently have, just for perspective on this calendar. Now to talk about the calendar a little bit, you can see we start teacher professional development July 28th, which in our current calendar right now, it would start July 31st, with all the staff coming back July 30th. School starting August 6th, which is a week sooner than we traditionally started. It goes 5 days all the way through the first week there in September, which Labor Day is traditionally a Monday holiday, so you'd have Labor Day off. And then that Friday, the 5th, we would still have school. But then it starts, I try to keep like a cadence, like staff development, holiday, staff development, holiday, right? So it kind of works its way down the calendar that way. That kind of worked out in my mind, but obviously we can always move holidays and things around. Traditionally, in October, we've had the Monday off where Columbus Day is, so this would not have that because, again, we've moved those to Fridays. You got November, December, all the way through, which is very similar to what we have this year. July picks up January 5th, we would traditionally have a staff work day, so this has us coming back full of students and staff on that 5th because, again, that Friday the 9th is the work day, trying to keep that pattern all the way down the year. When you put Monday the 5th as the work day and then Friday the 9th, it goes back and forth. The cadence starts to kind of go back and forth. Martin Luther King, January 19th is still a holiday, so we have school on that Friday the 23rd. Again, it kind of follows that pattern of 2 work days, holiday, 2 work days, holiday, up until spring break. For perspective, Easter Sunday is April 5th, so that's why you have April 3rd, Good Friday as a holiday. Then you got the 10th, 17th, and 24th of April are all staff work days of some form or fashion. 17th and 24th designated right now as bad weather makeup days. And then you go through the Thursday after Memorial Day would be the last day of school, with the 29th being the final staff work day / graduation. One thing on here that we have had in the past that I do want to note, and I'll talk about high school principals, if you look in this yellow box, it says 0 early release days. So when we originally did this calendar, it was adding 15 minutes to the day. But when we get rid of all of the early release days for high school semester exams and the early release days for the end of each semester, it immediately makes up all that time to where you don't have to, where you only have to add 5 minutes to the day. So it's kind of what I was talking to the principal, high school principals about it. Like, if we feel strongly about early release days for semester exams, then we're going to need to add probably 15, 20 minutes to the high school schedule in order to make up for that time that we wouldn't have instruction. And again, that would leave us with no bank days, right? So in talking with them, Mr. Ellis and Mr. Kohler felt like, this type of calendar we could make, not having to have early release days for a semester exam in order to make this work. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Right now, we're collecting feedback from you all. We're continuing to review the child care. We're looking at bell schedules and trying to see where we best need to be. Do we need to make any adjustments for transportation? Looking at proposing some staff development options so staff could kind of get an idea of what, depending on the calendar, what would be a district day, what's a campus day versus what's a classroom work day. If we do want to move the calendar more like calendar C, and that's kind of where y'all are feeling like that's a direction we want to go, we definitely need to engage finance and HR into a more in-depth conversation about our hourly staff and what their week would look like, CNS, transportation, those kind of things. We need to really just dive into a little bit more. And then we want to get another round of input from DEIC and then bring y'all approval in February. So it's a very long explanation. Do you guys have any questions or anything I can answer?
Chris, do you have any questions?
So I have a question on, I guess it varies on all the calendars, or it's the same holiday, but MLK Day, so just randomly, I was speaking with some family somewhere else, and they did not have MLK Day off. So is it because we're beholden to other districts around here and UT and for those that, why we couldn't just move MLK to have that be that holiday on the 20th?
Internally, we've just traditionally always said MLK. We haven't had a discussion about not having it, but that's definitely something we could look into. I don't know that we would be beholden to anybody, yeah.
Yeah, it surprised me when I was like, what do you mean you're not out of school? But it was out in West Texas, and I just randomly heard that, and I was like, when you went over that, because that's kind of weird to have that, you're off every Friday, and then okay, MLK Day, what, if there's not a giant uproar, or we're not beholden to schedules of other schools.
Sure.
Maybe just move that to that Friday and have it be a holiday, maybe.
Every school that we talk to that has a calendar like this, both that Friday on MLK and the Friday after Labor Day, and then they said there's another one where they have like a random Monday, it might be Easter Monday. They said the Friday attendance for all of them is very low, 80%. I think one was even saying it's in the 70s, because they said just traditionally people are used to just the Fridays, and then that's just kind of how they operate. Like, having to come to school on a Friday is not something they do. So it definitely speaks to the pattern that you're talking about, for sure.
Yeah, I would say, just, my 2 cents for what it's worth is, like I said, unless there's complications, I would just move everything that you can to Fridays. And then, of course, I'm still a fan from personal research over the last couple weeks, plus research that other board members have done and sent and stuff that I've heard and read. I'm more and more of an advocate for just an all the way across the board 4-day.
Like a calendar C option. Is that what you're talking about?
Z plus, because you still have us not in on August and May, correct?
Oh, you're talking about, so if we were to go and add, like, for example, the 15th, 22, 29, and then here in May, 8, 15, 22, for every one of those days, we would definitely, we would probably looking at 30 to 45 minutes that we'd have to add onto the school day, so, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's worth the conversation. I think it's worth continuing to explore and drill down on.
Okay.
If we hear from staff, I think I saw some heads nod in the room, which is totally fine when you said that it tends to make the day a little bit longer. Yeah, but you get every Friday off, or you're in development, or you're in.
Okay.
I would like our people to really push on that and just, hey, let's flesh it out and see, did we throw that out there and say, hey, we gotta add 30 minutes every day, and just a handful of people were like, oh, we don't wanna do that, or was it an arching theme of, no, we absolutely don't want Because everything I've heard so far from our people on the ground in the trenches has been 4 day, 4 day, 4 day.
Okay. No, for sure. We'll make a note and then dive a little deeper into that for sure. Thank you.
All right, Kathy?
I think I agree a lot with what Mr. Neighbors said, that if we're gonna go for innovation calendar to support the teachers, then it should be predictable for the parents. Because I think that's the thing that, in the other that I saw, is you had to think about, what am I doing this week, and getting it on the schedule. The one thing that I disagree with, or I agree with the people nodding their heads, that being from an elementary history, you add 45 minutes to a day, and it's a lot for our elementary kids. And even the 4th and 5th graders can get pretty antsy. If we can figure out a tipping point of minutes, if we do that, and then how do we bank, or how do we make up time, and have that very clear at the end. I will say this to his concern about Martin Luther King Day, Chris, because I was here when we didn't have it. And it was quite, the one year that we didn't have it in, it was quite a community backlash on that. So not just for the historical, which was number one, but there were a lot of parents off that day. So I think that's where some of that might have come in. It's not really a beholden, but to align with parents' work schedule, but also that is a very historical figure that people do still to this day, at least I do, and I will say that clearly, respect what that man tried to do for our country. And so in that, I think those are the two things, Mr. Moulton.
Okay.
Is that tipping point in minutes, because older kids could probably handle it, but I'm not really sure about primary children and how much effective teaching is going on when they hit their I'm done level for the day.
Yeah. Thank you.
Christy?
Well, I agree with Mr. Neighbors about, I get confused about A day, B day. I know my grandkids know what day it is, but I don't know what day it is. So then you throw in, are we going 5 days? And Mr.
Sure.
Ellison and Mr. Kohler, I'm sure, do a great job of helping the kids understand A day, B day. But as a high school teacher and coach, those kids aren't even getting out of school until 5 o'clock, and then they got to change clothes and they've got to go have practice. And they have 2 on-ramps class and 3 AP classes. They're up until midnight doing homework, and then they're back at early morning practice. So I just really think if we have kids in school until 5 o'clock, that's rough. I think 4:20 is kind of rough. But I think we have to look at that. I think the kids can probably, handle extra time for each class. But man, those kids that are doing band practice and, 1-act play and all the sports, it's dark.
Yes.
And so I just think we need to think about, extracurricular keeps our kids, some kids that wouldn't care about their grades, they've got the grades. I know kids that if they became ineligible because of grades for a sport, they went downhill fast. So, academics is the most important thing, but extracurricular keeps a lot of those kids going academically. So, 5 o'clock sure is late for getting out and, not even starting practice until, 5:15. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a follow-up, Chris?
So the 425 for high school is with going to school in August and May, right? So you said, how much time would that add if we went to, didn't go?
Second, I can change in my formula here real quick. So we are short.
Call Rosanna in for the funky math.
So 480, so we would have to add 25 minutes at least to the current school day.
So 450 basically on high school. Did I do the math right? That's pretty basic math. I'm sure I failed it.
So yeah, right now, it would be 20 minutes additional to what's showing there. So like high school is 8:40 to 4:25, so it'd be 4:45
Okay.
if we did the same start time.
Gotcha. And then, well, so one thing, I don't even pretend to be an educator, so I'm not gonna use any of the funny sayings there, but to my educator friends, just trying to think outside the box, like if the kiddos have Fridays off, what does that do as far as your workload, your homework, your studies? You know, do you think there's, you know, and then for you guys, you know, going, talking to your teachers and stuff, I mean, like I know I have a middle schooler, and at least the way they do at North Campus is theory, your homework is assigned, you have essentially a week to complete it. Well, if they're out of school on Friday, I don't know how it is at high school, because I don't have a kiddo there yet, thank goodness, but I mean,
You know, I would say to add on to that, it would be the same, we're having that same thought when it comes to our curriculum documents too. Like we would have to look at our pacing guides and you're at a glance. So it's that same thing in that as soon as the calendar is approved, is that we would start working through what those things would look like. I don't think any of us could tell you, everybody would probably have an opinion on, I think it should be this, right? But we'd have to talk through
sit
that.
down and hash it out.
To add on to your point about kids on Fridays, two of the high schools that I talked to said their most engaged kids loved the schedule because they were in so many extra credit, extracurricular activities, dual credit, on-ramp, that they needed that extra day just to go, all right, let me get organized, let me get all my work done. I'm not going class to class to class, trying to figure out I can still go to practice because I can wake up at, 9 o'clock, I can work for a little bit. So your most engaged kids, they were saying, really, really appreciate that. And then the kids that I think that they were telling me that struggle with engagement, to sit down and say, look, man, you just got to get through 4 days, right? So it really kind of both ends of the spectrum really kind of benefited more from this type of manipulative calendar for sure.
That would be the only thing I would, and like I said, I don't even pretend to be an educator, but, let's not forget that they have all day Friday, or, sports and stuff and standing, because they would still have practices, games, whatnot. I mean, you have an entire day that you're not in school, and you could be getting caught up on school. But now, you gotta be a disciplined kid to do that. I don't know that I could have, but you got a whole day. Yeah.
For sure. Thank you.
You have a follow-up, Ms. Major?
I think it goes back again to where's the tipping point, because you will have kids, when I was at the high school, when I worried about them the most was that semester, because they would be in their extracurricular, they'd be in their advanced classes, they were trying to get projects and papers done, and they walked into the holidays a pelt. They had no energy left. So I can see those kids taking advantage of this. The other part is, my understanding is part of this schedule is to support teachers as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's a tipping point between those two things. And I don't want to preempt the town meeting, and I would like to have the principals and staffs be able to say to you openly without me, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
What they really feel, but that's where it's going to be. I would like to hear what the teachers feel is best, what the parents would be best, and justify it. And then after hearing that, I can make my recommendations, I think, a little clearer, and why I justify it with my history. Because I think, Chris, I'm an educator, and I haven't given up on it, but I've not been in the classroom for a very long time. And if this is going to be for our classroom teachers, principals, I would charge you with being clear voices for your campus and the advantages and disadvantages. Because if there's disadvantages that we need to take care of, that would be what I would want to focus on, Mr. Moltall.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to problem solve ahead of time and contingency plan and look at all those things that if we do it, we have as much out of the way as possible to make this as smooth for parents and kids and teachers as possible. That's my 2 cents worth.
And that's a great point. We've started internally developing an FAQ page to where if we were going to move down the path where we were going to have something a little bit more innovative than what we had in the past, is to make sure we have all of that addressed. And
I've
that's a
heard
great point.
from other districts myself, friends in other districts that have the four, and they do like it. But the prep for the parents is going to be very important to
Yes, ma'am.
understand how this will work. But I don't want so many minutes that, I think about, and I'm sorry, this is where my educator comes in. I think about those behavior kids that get to a certain point in the day and they're done. So what do we do for them for the last 45 minutes when they're done?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Great point.
Christie, you have anything else?
No, I just agree with Kathy that, we're trying to do what's best for everybody, but I think it's really important to hear from the teachers. And no, if it's an extra 25 minutes a day, if you split that up into 4 periods, at the secondary level, at the high school level, that's not that many extra minutes. You have kids that won't do anything on Friday, and you have kids that'll do all their work on Friday. You have kids that I used to tell them, do your A-day homework on A-day and your B-day homework on B-day, and they don't. They wait till the night of their B-day and do their A-day. Some kids will be okay with it. Some kids will figure it out. But to me, we need to do something for our staff. We've really got to pay attention to the staff, help them.
Well, thanks for all y'all's input and, oh, yes.
Can I just add, so Kathy brought up something there that made me really think for a second was, when I said, so I've heard from our people in the trenches, well, those people in the trenches may not realize that in elementary school, you go from 7:25 to 3:30, if I added.
It's 3
right?
o'clock right now. Oh,
3 o'clock now, if we
you'd have 25, yes.
roughly 3:30.
Yes, 3:30. Yeah.
So there is a valid argument that those people need to know, because it's, it sounds real good, 4 to 8 weeks, and then when we hit them with, oh, now you're gonna be teaching till 3:30, and we bumped it up, right, to 7:25, but definitely, yeah, I want the feedback from our folks to see where everybody's.
It's a great point. Yeah.
I want it crystal.
Yeah, they need to totally understand what they're signing up for.
Sure.
Well, yeah, thank you. And so I want to thank you for the work on these calendars, and I know on Monday we're going to dig deeper on this, but I definitely want to make sure that we are being creative in our thought process, because if we're adding, 30 minutes to the day or whatever, at the elementary level, what does that look like when you add an extra, like you do a morning snack and an afternoon snack? You have 2 times they get to go outside, 2 recesses, making sure that we're thinking creatively and not just saying, well, I was going to have a whole extra 30 minutes. Just make sure that 30 minutes Mike could add in for some extra stuff in that day. And also, would it be worth looking at starting on the 5th instead of the 6th? Things like that. Would that be worth it to get the true 4-day week? So just before Monday or whatever, just thinking about creative ways to get those minutes in, but also possibly do the true 4-day, just for some more discussion on Monday.
We have our principals together this Friday, and this was on our agenda, was to get y'all's feedback and see where we're at tonight, and then dig deeper with them Friday.
Very good. Well, thank you. I know
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
a lot of work coming up with all these calendars, but I know as a board, if we're wanting to make some changes, it's good to have all these options to really flesh out and make sure that we're doing what's best.
Yes, ma'am.
President Parsons, members of the board, if you have any other direction, excuse me, or questions you need answers for, let us know as soon as possible. We'll have them ready for you on Monday night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 5C is our updates from Mr. Snell.
All right, thank you, President Parsons, members of the board. If you look in your package, you have district updates from me. Just as a reminder, in January, we're kicking off the budget process. So we've been heavily involved in budget reductions for this year and what we can do for next year, but the normal calendar also kicks in as far as our planning. So we'll have a little more information for you on Monday night as well. Around the district, we're still tracking a lot of illness, mostly flu A. When you look at our subs, we averaged about 100 subs last week. Today, we had over 107 absences with 31 unfilled subs. So it's just kind of that time of year. We're hoping that extended weekend, although we don't like the ice, we're hoping that quelled some of the illnesses around the district. You also have an update from me on the results of the random drug testing. So far this year. It's kind of small in your packet, but you can zoom it in and see the number of students tested each time. Liberty Hill High School has had 5 dates of testing, and Legacy Ranch has had 2 as recent as last week. The big thing, just to reemphasize what Mr. Bowles said, very, very It's a lot of celebration with the Liberty Hill Education Foundation, and our annual gala is coming up on March 6th. And Corey Morrow is musical entertainment, so that'll be good. There's still a couple of tables left. A lot of buzz in the room. Still a lot of
You're
tables.
welcome.
Well, there's 6 tables left to purchase. And they have given me a few tickets just for the concert only. So we can look for creative ways to reward our staff and get them in the door to help celebrate with the Education Foundation. Then we have legislative update. If I can get to it. You can, yeah, if you will for me, Travis. I can't get to it. So legislative updates. So today was a big day in the legislature. Both the Senate and House filed bills for their budget. These budget numbers will change just a little bit, and even though they've decided the dollar amount in the budget, it still requires individual bills to give voted on authority to spend this money. So if you look at that, Senate Bill 1, we have an increase in $9.7 billion in state funds, almost a 4.3% increase in the Senate side. For public education, they're proposing additional $5.3 billion for public ed, including 4.9 to increase the foundation school program. So that's a little deceiving. Last year, we were supposed to have $4 billion, which would have been $2 billion annually. So 5.3 is a little over 2.5 annually for public education. Not sure, because they have to define whether it's going in the basic school allotment or if it's going in smaller allotments. So we'll be paying close attention to that. Educator pay, as promised, our Lieutenant Governor has promised a pay increase for teachers. Remember, they passed this bill out of the Senate last year, but it didn't pass with everything else. Nothing happened. But basically, every classroom teacher would get a $4,000 raise, and teachers in rural schools, which right now is defined as 5,000 or fewer, will get a $10,000 raise, trying to equalize those payments. But again, last time they did something like this, there were strings attached, so we'll just have to watch it and read the fine print when that comes, but that's promising. Additional $400 million is included for school safety. Again, that's per biennium. That's basically following the desire to double the school safety allotment. So that's a good thing. ESA's, Education Savings Account, that's a fancy name for vouchers. Basically, they have $1 billion allocated for that, which is roughly $500 million annually. And then property tax reduction is big on there as well. Lieutenant Governor said he would like to increase the homestead exemption by another 40,000. So you see that the current 100,000 go to 140, 150 for seniors. And they've also got a lot of at least talk about small business as well. So we'll be watching that. I know Mrs. Guerrero went and got a little more information on what those mean. But again, this is hot off the press, so there's not a lot of small print yet. The House bill is very similar to the Senate bill. You've got increase to public education, a little bit smaller amount, same amount for school safety. The next bullet is very interesting. So they're looking at changing the yield or increasing the yield of our golden pennies. Remember, you can have up to 8 pennies that are golden pennies. Liberty Hill just has 5 currently. So, but they're increasing that yield, which again, these pennies would not be subject to recapture. This could be very beneficial to all districts, especially Liberty Hill. They've got a little bit of money to include projected enrollment growth. They've got education savings accounts, vouchers, same amount, and then they've got some more property tax reduction. I think we'll see the education savings account on as an emergency issue, so they can hear those bills sooner rather than later. But I also think you'll see some property tax reduction possibly be in that emergency bill as well. They want to plan to eliminate property taxes, or at least that's what they're saying right now. Not sure how that'll work and not sure how everything else will be funded by the state. But this is the news today. So now the fun begins. Now you'll see lots of bills getting moved. Eventually, once these two houses finalize these bills for their budget, they'll have to go to a joint committee before it's approved. But things are moving. A couple of us are heading to the Capitol on Friday to meet with our legislature and fight for Liberty Hill, fight for some of those things. And I look forward Monday to possibly talking about some legislative priorities that we can get in front of our elected officials that really define the needs of Liberty Hill.
Very good, thank you. All right, so moving on to item number 6 is consent agenda. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
This is, do you want to go over this?
I can.
No, I
was trying to figure out what he
I don't
was
have
trying
to,
tell
but
me.
I don't have it out, but I was like,
I certainly can.
go over it
I was
yet.
looking at you so confused.
I'm happy to.
Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
President Parsons,
Following
trustees, in your consent agenda, you have the tax collection summary and where we are with our cash position and investment report. If you'll notice, that investment report is down a little bit over this time last year, but we have also spent that money on pay apps for construction. You've got our financial summary report. You've got budget amendments in there. You've got the bond status report. You've got purchases over $50,000, which we had one check over $50,000 to pay SFE food service. You've got the enrollment report. We are up to, the enrollment report is 9940 officially, but as of last Friday, we're up to 9946 on the ADA report, and we've got our donations, and then you've got the police reports for the month. So that is your consent agenda for January.
All right, thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mrs. Hargrove makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neighbors seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, moving on to action items, starting with 7A is consideration and possible action on marching band uniforms for the Liberty Hill High School by Mr. Portillo and Mr. Motown.
Yes, thank you, President Parsons, members of the board, Superintendent Snell. Would like to turn it over at this time to our Fine Arts Director, Mr. Chico Portillo, and he's going to talk about our need for band uniforms at Liberty Hill High School.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Ms. Parsons, Board, Mr. Snell. The current Liberty Hill marching uniforms, in essence, are just not holding up. They're falling apart. Parents are weekly having to repair them. So it's time to get new ones. We have funding available in this year's Fine Arts General Fund to replace them. The design process started in October. We chose 3 different companies to work with, and each of those companies provided us with samples and designs. We evaluated each of the samples, and I recommend that the purchase of 150 marching uniforms for the Liberty Hill High School band from Fred J. Miller, Inc., based on construction, design, and the price of $103,060.75. These new uniforms are guaranteed to last 8 years, and I'm happy to entertain any questions at this time.
Ms. Hargrove, do you have a question?
How many kids do we have in the band currently?
125.
Okay, so that would be more than enough for the
Yes.
kids. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Major?
No, thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the board approve the purchase of marching band uniforms from Fred J. Miller Incorporated in the amount of $103,060.75 for the Liberty Hill High School to be funded by the General Fund Fine Arts budget as presented.
Mrs. Major makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neighbors seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to 7B, consideration and possible action on civil engineering services for Liberty Hill High School wastewater lift station maintenance project by Mr. Willoughby and Mr. Aiken.
President Parsons, Mr. Snell, members of the board, Langen Engineering and Environmental Services has been providing services for the 2021-2023 bond projects. This proposal is for the civil engineering and permitting services for Liberty Hill High School wastewater lift station. The specific scope tailored to this project includes design, construction documents, and permitting, bidding phase assistance, construction phase assistance, and TCEQ permitting. This item would address the civil engineering services for that wastewater lift station in the amount of $44,000 to be funded from the 2023 bond program. We recommend the board approve the civil engineering services agreement from Langen Engineering in that amount for Liberty Hill High School wastewater lift station to be funded from the 2023 bond program and authorize the superintendent to negotiate the final terms of the agreement.
Mr. Neighbors, do you have a question? Ms. Major? Ms. Hargrove? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that the board approve the civil engineering services agreement from Langen Engineering in the total amount of $44,000 for Liberty Hill High School wastewater lift station to be funded from the 2023 bond program and authorize the superintendent to negotiate the final terms of the agreement.
Mr. Neighbors makes the motion. Is there a second? Mrs. Majors seconds it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. So moving on to 7C is consideration and possible action on design services for Liberty Hill ISD Operations and Maintenance Facility by Mr. Willoughby. Mr. Aiken.
President Parsons, members of the board, Mr. Snell, in October of 2023, the board approved a pool of architects that were selected through an RFQ. The Liberty Hill ISD administration recommends VLK Architects for the architectural design of Liberty Hill ISD Operations and Maintenance Facility renovation. Included in this scope are warehouse storage space, a service area, shop space, offices, conference rooms, professional development areas, and a break room. The LHISD staff have negotiated an agreement for the design services with the following highlights. This agreement would include architectural and interior design, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, envelope, roofing, food service, and technology design services. And LHISD will hire civil services, which is not included in the VLK contract, to better control the design schedule. This would address the architectural design of expansions and renovations to the Liberty Hill ISD Operations and Maintenance Facility as part of the 2021 bond program. The architect fee will be a percentage of the total cost of work. The cost of design service is 8% of the total cost of work, with an estimated construction cost not to exceed $2 million. The fees are to be funded by the 2021 bond program. We recommend the board approve the design services contract for VLK Architects in the total estimated amount of $160,000 for those renovations to the operations and maintenance facility funded by the 2021 bond program, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate the final terms of the agreement.
All right, Ms. Hargrove, do you? And I guess when this is presented, the new design, will we be able to have the current design for comparison purposes? And that, like what is there right now? Are we talking about the right?
Sure, yeah, it'll just be like any other project. We'll show you the plans, the schematic design, and y'all will need to approve that. So right now, we're just approving VOK for design services.
Okay. Very good. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that the board approve the design services contract for VLK Architects in the total estimated amount of $160,000 for renovations to Liberty Hill ISD Operations and Maintenance Facility funded by the 2021 bond program, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate the final terms of the agreement.
Ms. Hargrove makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neighbors seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. And then 7D, consideration and possible action on GMP number 2 for Liberty Hill Elementary number 8.
Thank you, President Parsons, members of the board, Mr. Snell. The board selected American Constructors in February of 2024 as a qualified construction manager at risk. GMP 1 was previously approved in December of 2024. GMP 2 consists of work relating to the concrete, masonry, structural steel framing, metal railings, carpentry, casework, thermal and moisture protection, openings, finishes, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and utilities. This item would address the GMP number 2 approval for elementary number 8 as part of the 2023 bond program. This project is funded by the 2023 bond program, and the breakdown is as follows. Elementary 8 GMP number 1, which was previously approved, in the amount of $5,875,493. And this elementary number 8, GMP number 2, in the amount of $38,019,507 for a total of $43,895,000. We recommend that the board award GMP number 2 to American Constructors in the amount of $38,019,507 for elementary 8 to be funded by the 2023 bond program, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate final terms of this contract.
Mr. Neighbors?
What was our original budget?
So,
Go ahead, please.
so our construction budget was 45 million. And then would also like to note, when the 2023 bond was designed and passed, this campus was originally budgeted for 800 student campus, and since has been elected to be a 1,000 student campus.
So the 45 mil was for 200 less kids.
Sir.
We're under budget.
And we're under budget. Keep it that way. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Josh Kutkowski from American Constructors, who's here tonight, and appreciate him and thank him for all the fine work that they did sharpening their pencils and bringing us to this number that we have tonight. So we're very grateful for that.
Very good.
Thank you.
He's in the back corner. There he is, he's hiding.
Ms. Major? Ms. Hargrove?
No, like under budget, that's awesome.
All right.
That's a
Okay.
nice word.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the board award guaranteed maximum price number 2 to American Constructors in the amount of $38,019,507 for elementary number 8 to be funded by the 2023 bond program, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate the final terms of the contract.
Mrs. Major makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neighbors seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. Thank
Thank
you all
you.
very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Moving on to 7E is consideration and possible approval for an order by the Board of Trustees of Liberty Hill ISD to call for an election on Saturday, May 3rd, 2025.
All right, thank you, President Parsons, members of the board. In your packet under E is the official order that the Board of Trustees of Liberty Hill ISD must call in order for us to have an election on May 3rd, 2025, for the purpose of electing 2 board members. We'll have 2 places as open, place 6 and place 7, both for full 3-year terms. The filing window is open now, and it closes at 5 p.m. on Friday, February 14th. You have the attachment of the notice of official order, which upon vote will just need to be signed by the president and the secretary.
Mr. Neighbors, any questions? Ms. Hargrove? No. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a
Go ahead.
So do you want?
I make a motion that the board approve the order to call for an election on May 3rd, 2025 for the purpose of electing 2 trustees to fill place 6 and place 7 for 3 full-year terms.
Mr. Neighbors makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Major seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Item number 8 is to adjourn to closed session. The board will go into closed session as permitted by Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code Sections 551.074, personnel. The time is 7:23 p.m. right, the time is 8:21, and the board returns to open session. Oh, sorry. Looking at 9A, consideration and possible action of accepting resignations, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that the board approve the resignations as presented.
Mrs. Major makes the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Hargrove seconds it, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. All right, motion carried. 9AB, consideration and possible action employing personnel, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that the board approve employee personnel as presented.
Mr. Neighbors makes the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Hargrove seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. Item 9AC is consideration and possible action on assistant principal for Santa Rita Middle School. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that the board approve Amanda Langseth as the assistant principal for Santa Rita Middle School as presented.
Mrs. Major makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neighbor seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. So board president comments 10A, our next board meeting will be January 27th, 2025, 6 o'clock here at the administrative office. I think I'll talk when we're all, maybe I'll, instead of talking about the continuing education stuff tonight, I'll do it next week when we're all here. So just nothing big, but just talking about that. So, okay. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Mrs. Hargrove makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Neighbor seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries, and the time is 8:23 p.m.
Just adjourned, Kendall.